Hey, so we're up to number 3 in the Little Dicky tutorial videos on how to solve global warming, and this one is on the food solution. This should be good.
Now let's talk about my favorite thing, food, because the way that we're creating and consuming food on Earth is incredibly problematic. Let's start with agriculture, which is how we're growing our food.
I'm actually glad that he knows the definition of agriculture here, instead of just saying growing shit or something like that.
Right now we're using these intense machines and these weird chemicals that grow as many crops as possible for as cheaply as possible, not really taking the environment into account. As a result, it's a very pollution-heavy business. There's tons of carbon going into the air. There's tons of greenhouse gases going into the air.
Well, what do you know? Little Dicky mentioned greenhouse gases. Maybe he does know what he's talking about.
There's pesticides that are killing the soil, and when that stuff happens, other species are affected, like butterflies, bats, bees.
One species affecting another species has been happening since the dawn of the Earth. It's this little thing called survival of the fittest. Yes, we need to learn how to coexist in nature and learn to live with animals that are important to the survival of humankind. But to imply that we can do so without affecting them is again realistically impossible. In some way or somehow, both directly or indirectly, we will be affecting them and they will be affecting us. It's essentially impossible not to do something on Earth without it having some form of chain reaction on something else. I'm not saying that it's the butterfly effect, but I'm saying that everything we do will affect something else. And again, didn't you say 2 videos ago that everything on Earth has a chain reaction? So aren't you basically contradicting yourself by saying that one species shouldn't be affecting another species here? Also, I wonder what the cockroaches and the rats of the world think of us trying to eradicate them with different measures. Are we not affecting them and them us?
Believe it or not, those 3 creatures actually pollinate what scientists claim to be nearly 1/3 of what we eat.
Oh hey, look how beautiful the text looks now that it's to the side of the presenter rather than being behind them. Almost like it compliments him, right?
And if those things die, then, so much food is off the table. No pun intended. Combine that with the rate at which we're making love, and at some point we're gonna have a shortage here on Earth, and it's gonna turn into like a bunch of crazy people running around scavenging like rats.
Okay, yes, so our resources might seem limited, but we've reached a point in civilization where we can intelligently manipulate animals and agriculture to essentially constantly reproduce and grow, to the point where it'd be extremely unlikely to see an outcome where we'd run out of food. Again, I'm not saying that this is going to hold to be true, but judging by the last 20 to 30 years, for the first time in the history of humankind, we have more people that are living with obesity than are dealing with starvation.
Another factor with food is red meat. And believe it or not, red meat consumption is one of the biggest environmental issues we have here on our planet. We eat so goddamn much of it. We got all these cows out there and they're burping and shitting and farting.
And we're back to the same text problem. Really? We were doing so well.
And those burps and shits and farts alone are putting methane into the air. And methane is actually 27 times more potent than even carbon.
You do realize there's carbon and methane, right? I'm not sure if you're trying to say carbon dioxide because you keep referring to it just as carbon.
Am I gonna stop eating steaks and burgers? Of course not, Am I gonna eat it way less? Yeah!
Wait a minute, so the solution is to not stop eating red meat, it's just to eat less of it. Is this a solution or is this just delaying the inevitable?
Eat it less. Instead of having it 4 times a week, have it once a week, I don't have it 4 times a week, but I'm from Philly. I eat so many cheesesteaks.
Okay, so let me get this right. You're advocating for people to cut down eating meat from, say, 4 times down to once a week, even though we kill around 50 billion animals every year, which is approximately 1 billion every week, which means if we did cut down to this level, we would still be killing roughly 7 to 10 billion animals every year. See what I mean about delaying the inevitable?
Cheese is also, is it meat? It's not meat, but it's from the teat of the cow, I think.
You know what makes a great educational video about global warming? Have your key presenter not know the difference between cheese and meat.
And it's all, the circle of life, so.
Hold on. What kind of circle of life is that? We've got Little Dicky going to Philly cheesesteaks, going to cows, and then going to a question mark? What?
If you want to learn more. Click learn more.
Alright, one more video to go. That one was brutal. Hopefully the next one will be just as good.
It's all connected. That circle of life shit that you hear as a child is a real thing. It's a real thing. I can't believe it's real. It's real.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifesto.